welcome to the Ask AZ session. I've had a question come in from Dominique, and I think it's a pretty important and valid question. Hi Amir, I need some clarity please on why there is nothing better than the present moment. Is it because anything else I can imagine is still just an illusion and the now is all that exists? Because sometimes I feel that the now could be better, like a trip overseas or a holiday, but I can't afford it right now. So how is the present moment the best? I see myself at times going into judgment, which then closes me off from the joy I could be feeling, because I feel like I could be better sometimes, or life could be better sometimes. So you see, great question. And let's just start off with the top part of that question. If I can go back to it, I'm just scrolling back down to Dominique's question. I need some clarity, please, on why there is nothing better than the present moment. Well, it's not about being better or worse. It's you need to sit down with yourself and break this down with yourself. I don't know how else to put it, but how is there any other moment than the present moment? It's not about, I should be in the present moment because life is going to be better, or I'm going to be better, or I'm going to feel more joy. I mean, don't get me wrong, when you are in the present moment, that is what you feel. You feel more joyful. You feel improvement in your mental space because there's less noise, or very little noise, and your senses become in heightened, I think is the word I'm looking for, where you become aware of your environment, become aware of how you're feeling, your intuition, the sun hitting your face, the wind blowing the trees, the sounds around you. So your senses become heightened. And to me, I think to myself about the present moment. And as much as I, like everyone else, get tempted to go into the future and consider how I could improve my present moment. Well, let's first break this down before we go into the second part of your question, which is, well, what if I don't like the present moment? Or I think I don't want to put words in your mouth. Sometimes I feel that now could be better. Like I could be on overseas or on a trip or on a holiday. Before we even have that conversation, let's really break this down. Is there any other moment than this moment now? Like right now, consider this. Like, and I know some of you have heard this and you've already contemplated, but really just everyone just take a moment. Let's do this together. Right now, in this moment, is there any other moment? Now, your intellectual mind will kick in and say, well, yes, there's the past, and of course, there's the future. Can you go and visit the past right now, like outside of a memory? Because, I mean, sure, you could visit the past and you can visit memories, but because it's already been and gone, you can't actually experience it. You can't experience it. When you're in the present moment, there is a aliveness that you feel, right? That's what you feel when you're really in the moment. Can you feel an aliveness in the past? I mean, you may visit a memory and there may be some joy in that memory. But because it's in the past, you can't then pick up from that moment and move forward, because it doesn't exist. It's like having a dream. When you have a dream at night, you have a dream and you visit. It could be a very vivid dream and everything feels very real, and your senses, and you're experiencing the emotions, and might be a wonderful dream, might be a frightening dream, whatever it is. It seems real, but when you wake up, you can't then continue that dream while you're awake. Why? Because it was just a dream. So that's the same as the past. You can go visit the past via memory, and you could say, well, I'm experiencing that memory. Good, great. But you can't then pick that up and go back to that past. Let's say you're thinking about 1996. That's when I graduated from high school. I'm going back to 1996. You can't then go back to 1996 and go, okay, I'm going to come back here now. I'm going to move forward and live my life from 1996. You're not traveling time, are you? So the past, therefore, is not real. It's not real because you can't experience it. Outside of you visiting it in your memory, it's the same as the dream, what I'm talking about with the dream. You can have the dream, it seems real, but when you wake up, you can't continue with that dream. So you can have the thought, the memory, and you can go back there, but when you come back into whatever you're doing, I was catching a bus, I was doing my homework, I was serving someone, I was washing the dishes, you can't pick up, you're back in this moment. So, for me, that contemplation really makes me realize, and you can't take my word for this. I invite you to go and ponder it, and I know you've heard it, and there's lots of teachings that outside of this moment, you can't experience it. There's no past, there's no future. The past and the future are an illusion because you can't experience it. And I know you've really heard that. Most of you have anyway. Maybe you're hearing this for the first time. You're like, what, you can't? You can't experience the past and future? And stay strap in your seats if that's you. But you really need to go and contemplate that and not take the word of another, or a teacher or a coach. You really need to go and contemplate. That's what I invite you to do. That's what I have done with myself, is go and contemplate and go, I really can't. So I can't experience the past. So therefore the past is an illusion. Because when the past happened, it happened when I was present to the moment. So even in the past, you think, but the past happened. It happened, yeah, but it happened in the now. So therefore, I'm just going to cancel the past out and say, well, it's an illusion. So there's no use me continuously living in this moment from the past. It's okay. Sometimes we revisit the past. Sometimes I can, here I have my daughter's, she drew me something, a wonderful picture. I like to keep this. Why? Because somewhere in the future, I may grab this and just reflect on it and go, wow, and just connect to that moment. But I can't live from, and I'm not needing to live from this moment. Because let's say in 20 years, when maybe I'm walking my daughter down the aisle and she's getting married, I might reflect at this picture and go, wow, look how far she's come. But it's finished. It's a reflection. It's a memory. And do I even need to do that? No. But sometimes we like to reminisce and look at what was okay. But as long as you understand that that is the past and it's finished, and you can't live in this moment. You know, in this moment right now, I'm walking my daughter down the aisle. I'm not really, I'm just continuing with this metaphor here. You know, that's what's real. We can look at how far we've come, and that's what the story gives us. It gives us meaning. We look at the past and it gives us meaning. We look at the future and maybe it gives us hope, right? But if you're in the present moment, it gives you joy. You know, it's not, you know, I personally feel that there's no greater level of meaning than being in joy. You know, when you're in the moment, you're experiencing that aliveness. That's the real meaning, you know, not what happened. And that's the real hope. What's a stronger word than hope? You know, if you can find a stronger word for you, what is a stronger word than hope? Because hope is, we look to the future and we're trying to manifest our future and make decisions about the future. But then we miss out on the now. So to answer your question, well, right now I'd like to go on a holiday. Well, right now, make a decision to go on a holiday. You could make a decision. I could decide right now. And, you know, if you say, well, I can't, but because I don't have the financial circumstances, well, make a decision about this moment right now, about how you will choose to show up differently. Make a decision about this moment. Don't make a decision about the future. The only time I'm going to make a decision about the future is because of the decision that I've made in this moment. Next week, I'm going to Byron Bay and the Gold Coast with some of my friends. An opportunity came and an invitation came. I made a decision in this moment to go and do that. That's coming up. I then went into my calendar and I scheduled that in. I then went to the Qantas and I booked my flights. So, sorry, my video just stopped there for a sec. So to me, you know, there's a difference between living for the future rather than making a decision about the future. When you live in the future, you live in an attachment to hope. It's not even hope, it's an attachment to hope. You're living for the future. All your choices, all the things that you're doing is based around what could be and what could happen. What I'm inviting you to do is make a decision about the future, but in the moment. So, the future one is easier to talk about, really, because we never experience the future. I mean, again, break this down for yourself. Your intellectual mind's kicking in. Well, yes, we do. The future's going to come soon. Yes, but you never experience the future. You experience the now. So the only thing that's real is the now. So even the future, where you might be visualizing the future and thinking about the future and living for the future, the only thing that you can experience is now. The future itself is like a dream, just like the reference point I just gave about the past. Again, but don't take my word for it. Sit down and ask yourself these questions. Can I experience the future? And when you come to realize, or when I can just talk about myself, when I came to realize that I can't experience the future, nor can I experience the past. And any experience that I'm having about the future or past is just not real, because what's real is what's happening right now. And often I miss out on what's going on right now because I'm thinking about the future, or I'm fixated. Sorry, I'm thinking about the past, I was going to say, or I'm fixated about what's going to happen in the future. So to me, when I consider that, I feel comfortable in being in the moment right now. And sometimes we don't like the moment right now because you're comparing it to what could be. And you're like, I could be on a holiday right now. I could be, you're actually you're not in the now. I urge you to actually look at that and be honest with yourself. Because for me, when I'm experiencing myself being in the now, that's all there is. And I feel alive, I feel connected, and I feel joyful. I feel connected to what I'm doing. You know, I take people for flights, as you know. I take people for aerobatic flights. And when we go up for aerobatic flights, usually the passengers are always really nervous. You know, when I'm strapping them in and I'm start the engine up and, you know, we're about to line up on the runway and I always say, well, the shit's about to get real. And we put full power in and we're screaming down the runway and we get airborne. And the moment we get airborne, people's fears or noise in their head, which is usually about the unknown of the future. Guess what people's biggest fear is when they come flying with me? No, it's not, this could be dangerous or we could crash or anything. It's, I just don't want to throw up. That's the biggest thing, right? It's like, will I throw up? Will I, we do high G forces. So sometimes people think, will I pass out? So, but all that noise about will I, what could happen or, am I going to get through this? All that noise disappears the moment we get airborne. And as we start to fly, people start to say, wow, this is so, the word they use is surreal. You know, it just, perspective kicks in. In perspective, you start to see all the houses. It's very different to flying in an airline because, you know, you really, in an aerobatic aircraft, you really become one with the aircraft. It's like the wings. The aircraft becomes wings for you. And anyway, we're flying around and suddenly there's perspective because you're flying around in the atmosphere and everything, all the story, all the houses, the cars and the people and everything you left down there. And up here, it starts to become quiet. Why? Because the moment you get airborne, you start to get present. Because you stop thinking about, and pilots, anyone who flies really relate to this, you stop thinking about everything, like the internal, the ongoing noise. You know, did I do this yesterday? This is happening. This happened to me yesterday. Did that person? Do they like me anymore? Are they cheating on me? Like whatever noise is going on goes away. The future. How am I going to pay those bills next week? You know, there is some things I need to consider about the future. What's happening in my business? Whatever. Is my boss going to fire me? Like all the noise just starts to go quiet. Why? Because something grabbed your attention. And what grabbed your attention was the moment you became airborne, you started to experience yourself in this 3D. You're now floating in the atmosphere. And now you have perspective. And it just helps you become present. And as we climb up, I get ready to do the aerobatics. And, you know, this is the thing that they fear most before I take them up. But that fear disappears when we're doing aerobatics. Why? When we're doing the aerobatics, people start to enjoy it. And, we're upside down. It's not meant to be normal. Your brain is screaming, going, hey, I shouldn't be upside down in an aeroplane. But they start to enjoy it. Why? Because the noise gets even quieter. Why? Because they became even more present. Why? Because something demanded their attention. It's not just the perspective. Now the aeroplane is doing something that you're not used to doing. You're now seeing yourself upside down. You're now experiencing life upside down. The first thing I do when I take people on an aerobatic joy flight is we start by putting the aircraft upside down. So now it's just like you're definitely not thinking about anything else. You're not thinking about even those people who are afraid of, oh my God, what if I throw up? You're not even thinking about that, because there is something demanding. It's commanding your attention. And when that happens, you're completely present to what's going on. So we get airborne, that demands your attention. Perspective demands your attention. We start doing the aerobatics and you go deeper into the present moment. And suddenly all that noise goes away. So, there's nothing but now. You will make decisions about the future. You will create or influence your future based on what you're doing right now. And there's a difference between operating for the future rather than operating from now and making decisions about the future. Right? And the difference is that when you're operating from now, you're allowing yourself to be tuned into your intuition, into your heart, because both heart or intuition happens in the moment. It speaks in the moment. And it's not that some people are more intuitive than others. It's just some people have an ability or a willingness to stay more present. So, to me, every invitation that I get from a noise that happens in my head to what if this doesn't happen? Or what if I should be doing this? Or what if I made a mistake in the past? It's the past. What if this happens in the future? So many times I've even considered, what if this happens? Or what if that happens? And I'd say 99% of the time, that never ever actually eventuated. Because my story continues to unfold in the moment. And what I was concerned about in the future, when I got to the future, if you like, right? Again, when you get to the future, you're experiencing in the now, that never even happened. So if you're not liking the now, it's probably because you're not in the now. If you're considering how much you would love to be on a holiday, great. Make a decision that you'd love to go on a holiday, but make a decision about it now. But most people will go, well, but Amir, I can't go on a holiday because I look into the future and I need that money that I have for this. And they make all their decisions based on a future scenario. I don't know what else to say about it, but I personally, I have not, everything that I do in my life is about now. I am making decisions about the future if something presents itself in the moment, and hey, I need to make a decision about what I need to book a flight, or I need to make a decision around this finances here and where they got to go and what's got to happen. Sure, I'll make those decisions quickly, and I just drop back into the now. I make the decisions about the future in the now, not for the future, but in the now. I make my decisions about how I feel and what's showing up purely about now, not based on what's happened in the past. For example, if I feel I get an idea for, let's say you had a relationship in the past that didn't work out, but then you meet someone else and you really like them, you don't want to bring your reservations from the past relationship. Yes, the past relationship, you had lessons and you learned, but you don't want to be approaching this new relationship with what's happened in the past. Same thing if you had a business and you had a business opportunity, maybe you had a business that failed, and then you have an inspiration that presented it to you about something that you want to do, an idea, a business, a product, a service. But then if you think about the past and you think, but last time I failed in my business. Well, great. But you don't want to make a decision based on the past. You want to take your learnings, your teachings from that experience and make a decision from this moment. See, this moment right now, it has infinite possibilities, but you can only tap into that infinite possibilities if you're completely here. And you're making a decision that is not influenced from the past nor the future. If you're making a decision and you continue to make a decision from the past to the future, you experience a repetitive pattern in your life and you go, why does this always happen? Why am I always having this much money? Why am I always having no money? Why do I always not have this kind of person in my life? Why do I always have the same relationship? Well, you keep making decisions based on the past or the future, then you repeat the pattern. But if you have an ability to make a decision based on this moment, not influenced, like no influence from the past or future, you have infinite possibilities because in this moment right now, you are infinite. You make it finite when you go and lean towards the past or future to make that decision. Make a decision based on what you feel, not trying to find, not trying to lean on, oh, well, it worked last time, so maybe let's do it again because it worked last time. No, let's do it because you feel to. Not because it worked last time. Or let's not do it because it didn't work last time. No, do it because you feel to. That's how I live. That's what I teach. That's what I share with people. That's what I coach people with. I hope that lands for you. And thank you for your question. And see you guys on the flip side. Thanks.